Hi guys, Thogrey here for a new video, and this video will be a PvP guide video for Affliction Warlock for patch 9.2.5 season 3 of Shadowlands. It is actually a very fun build that I'm proposing. It is different from the normal builds that you would play for Warlocks. It is a build that you can actually finish games before dampening. It is, of course, a bit harder to play because you will miss a few iconic abilities, and also you are going to revolve more about instant damage instead of dot damage. But I feel like in this meta it is pretty much interesting to play that build, and also in trees you can make it work with an elemental shaman and still have huge pressure. So let's start this video right now, but before we start this video, please subscribe to the channel if you like PvP kind content. Also like the video if you like that video after watching this video, of course, and comment below what you think about this build. Which class are you playing at the moment? Which spec are you playing at the moment? And what do you think about the Warlock changes that they made? Demon armor, the nerfs on destruction, trinket nerf. I mean, it's a bit too much for Warlocks, I think, especially for Affliction Warlock, which is not meta. But we will make this meta with this build. So let's start right away. So let's talk right away. We will make a little intro about it. Why do I play this build? Because I like the previous way to play Affliction Warlocks. Like in Wrath of the Lich King, you could just kill people outside of your dots. Like you would still dot people, that will still kill people, but you had Shadow Bolt, you had Haunt, you had Drain Life, you had so many possibilities to kill people. It was actually fun, and you had some variety, of course. Here, your damage will not be patty. It will be instant, it will be juicy whenever they let you cast, of course. But if you can manage to cast, you are going to kill people, 100%. And I think in RBGs it could work. I think in arenas it could definitely work. In trees, in twos maybe it's a bit different because you have a lot of counters, but we will talk about it with the strengths and weaknesses. Timestamps below. You can always skip ahead. You can always jump out and jump in whenever you want. But let's talk about talents right away. And they have made some PvP talents changes. We are going to discuss it right now. There is Shadowfall now, which gives you the talent Nightfall, but with a 100% increased chance to gain its effect. I've tested around, it's between 5 at 7 times a proc per minute, which is alright. You can also stack it up to 2 times, so you don't need to throw a Shadow Bolt right away, thinking that you're going to lose the proc. That's not the case. You can still proc it 2 times, so it's quite nice. They removed Demon Armor. I feel it versus Warriors. I feel it versus physical specs. But yeah, that's why Zeus is a bit different, a bit harder for Warlocks to make it work. But you can make it work, but you need to play like insanely to win versus some matchups, and yeah, that's another discussion for another day. But since they removed Demon Armor, I feel like Instant Drain is a valid option. You see, I'm not playing with Rapid Contagion because it is not a dot build, it is a instant damage build. Of course you can cast, but the damage will be noticeable. It will be very good, and actually the dots will be patty. It will help you to do some sustained damage, but also to have the affliction, the unstable affliction dispel that are hovering over their heads, and also they will not know that your bursts come also outside of Dark Soul. So it's very interesting to play. So I'm still playing with Rampant Affliction because I like to dot everyone, but you can also play with Deathbolt instead of Rampant Affliction, and they will not see that coming anyways. I play with Inevitable Demise since I have Nightfall. Gives you the possibility that you didn't have in 9.2. If you wanted to play that build, you had to give up that drain life, which gives you even more difficult times to actually sustain you. But now with the Fleshcraft, I'm also going to discuss the Covenant later. It gives you some good defensive capabilities versus melees, but also with Essence Drain giving you a 25% reduced damage towards you, which gives you in fact a mini pain suppression every time you cast a drain life. It is actually very nice. I think the difficulty on this build is actually casting spells and not getting kicked, so you need to play a bit different than previous patches. You will need to fake cast a lot, but if you manage to have their silences away and you can free cast whenever they don't have stuns, you are going to pretty much one-shot people. So a very fun build. I play with Wraith in Agony, but you can also play Absolute Corruption. I'm not going to explain why I play Agony over a Corruption. You can also play Corruption. I just prefer the damage of Agony because Corruption just hits like a wet noodle. But you can play Corruption if you don't want to every time get your Corruption ups to for your Nightfall procs, of course. Dark Pact, still the best choice. Again, Dark Demon Skin is very good in a dampening meta, in a meta where you're not going to get one-shotted. But now with Dark Pact, you can always defend yourself versus Assassination Rogues or Fury Warriors, for example. Phantom Singularity, of course, it is a good self-heal, but also a good damaging ability, one of your best dots, and it will also improve your main damaging ability. I play Hall of Terror in trees, but in twos you can play Mortal Coil most of the time. You can also play Hall of Terror in twos versus BM, versus Demonology Warlocks, versus Monks, so you can actually AoE fear them and their pets away, so you can survive a bit longer. Grimoire of Sacrifice is still the option. There's a bug, but I think it's going to be fixed once the video is up. But you cannot Grimoire of Sacrifice your pet before the gates are open, else it will go on CD, but you don't get the buff. So you will have to wait 30 seconds before you can cast it again. So just do it whenever the gates are open. I play with Dark Soul Misery because there is no real option. Creeping Death is not that good, and Soul Conduit 15% is way it's not good enough. 15% is just not good enough. Like every Malefic Rupture you are going to do, you will need to cast 6 or 7 Malefic Rupture before you see something like as a free soul shard. So I think it's not good. It's underpowered. They need to change the talents from Warlocks because there's a lot of dead talents for PvP, but also for PvE. So this is the talent section. Of course, we are going to jump in right away with the gear and legendary section, and that's the interesting part because our build revolves around Shadow Bolt. And what do you want to do to improve that Shadow Bolt? Well, you need to be Necrolord, and if you are Necrolord, you get the Shard of Annihilation, which gives you increased critical chance for your Shadow Bolt, but also critical strike damage by 50% for Shadow Bolt, which is very great. It is also not nerfed, not like Demonology, where Demonology this talent is nerfed. For Affliction Warlocks, it is not nerfed, so the damage is very noticeable. You play with Malefic Wrath, which gives you Malefic Rupture, increases the damage of your Shadow Bolt by 35% for 10 seconds, stacking up 3 times, and of course the buff is for the full duration, so it means you can cast a lot of Shadow Bolts in that time and still have the buff. I think the hardest part is to actually cast Malefic Ruptures without getting interrupted. I'm still playing with a 2 set because I think the 4 set is not that worth, but you can play with the 4 set if you want. I have even a 3 set because I've made a 4 set for the Destruction Warlock and I don't really have the conquest points to spend on a third piece outside of that. So for now we play with this. So we have double legendary, which gives you Shadow Bolt damage improved by a lot. So 35% times 3, which is very good. And also your Disseminating Bolt giving you that buff. I play with a 28% haste. You can go higher if you want, but I feel like the higher you go, the less effective it is for me. And I play with a bit of mastery, which gives you that extra damage that you get on dots. It is not super noticeable, but I guess there is some play behind it because Malefic Rupture actually hits very well. So you can play with that because of the 2 set. The 2 set gives you 25% extra Malefic Rupture damage and also extends the dot duration, which is always nice because the less dots you're going to reapply, the better chances you have to actually do your instant damage because of Disseminating Bolt and Shadow Bolts. So we play also with the haste trinket, but that aside, I play with the normal trinket now because the previous trinket echoing resolve is just not usable anymore for me. You get like increased chance, increased duration on stuns, but also you cannot really cast anymore after a stun because they will just silence you or interrupt you, and then you are kind of dead for that moment. So let's talk right away about conduits and covenant. We are playing Necrolord. The only issue I see with Necrolord is you don't have Soul Shape. Because for me, Night Fae, the main reason you play Night Fae is because of Soul Shape, giving you an extra escape versus melee. But Necrolord gives you a big shield, which is very nice because you have a big health pool, but also they give you Disseminating Bolt, which gives you extra Shadow Bolt damage. So let's discuss about the conduits. You have a lot of options, but I play with this most of the time. So we have Withering Bolt, which gives you 19% increased damage per dot effect that you have on the target. So mainly you will have all the time 3 dots on the target, and then a fourth one with Phantom Singularity, which is very nice. And you can do a lot of damage. Like your Shadow Bolt can crit for 32k. It's insane. You will see whenever I'm going to do the burst rotation, or at least the rotation that you need to do maximum damage. You have accrued vitality because I play with the Drain Life Legend PvP talent. I mean the talent Drain Life, and it gives you a good chunky heal. I think the hardest part is you are not playing with the a Claw of Endereth, a legendary, which gives you a drain life a bit faster, but also restore health a bit faster. But for now, yeah, it's the only option to play with this because you kind of fall over versus melee. So you need to play with accrued vitality and try to survive as much as you can until you can burst again. I play with focused malignancy because I like the malefic rupture damage whenever unstable affliction is on the target. It does actually a lot of damage, Malefic Rupture. I saw my Malefic Rupture sometimes crit for 18k, and 18k for a cast that is quite fast, 1.2 seconds, is quite insane. So I prefer to play with this. I know this build is a bit different with the previous build, but this one is really the build that you want to play if you want to have fun. Demonic Momentum, very nice because it also removes slows, but improves your movement speed, so you can always run away whenever you want. Ruling Agony, I like it because I like to not reapply my dots all the time, so I'll play with this. You can also play with Corrupting Leer, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not really reliant on dots to do damage, and often than not, I don't have a second Dark Glare or third Dark Glare to have this conduit be useful for me. I play with, of course, the Shade of Terror because I like to have my fears not break instantly. So I play with that, and sometimes I can just burst someone down whenever they are feared. It has an option that you don't have if you don't play that. You can also play with Diabolic Bloodstone, or you can play with Resolute Barrier, which is a bit better. I cannot remove that. Crap. Anyways, Resolute Barrier is also very good since you don't have the trinket anymore. You are really reliant on Unending Resolve. So this is the conduits that you can play. The soulbind that you can play is Plague Divisor Marilef because you like that Kevin Oozling, which gives you 6% extra damage, so it's even hitting harder for your head shadow bolts. And also Ultimate Form, which gives you CC immunity, but also health and a big shield. And yeah, it's a very good build that I want to show you. We are going to talk about playstyle right now. So the playstyle is revolved around trying to have 3 dots on every enemy. Of course, Malefic Rupture whenever you can, and whenever you have 3 stacks, and you can Disseminating Bolt. Actually, you can Disseminating Bolt whenever because it doesn't matter that buff duration is infinite until the next Decimating Bolt CD is up. So I would just do Decimating Bolt whenever you can because you need to cast some way somehow, so I prefer to prepare it in advance. Of course, the lower the HP the better because you will hit a lot harder on your Shadow Bolts. Then I would just strike my Malefic Ruptures, and then I can Shadow Bolt with my procs, but also I can cast the Shadow Bolts whenever I can with Dark Soul Misery, which gives you a fast Shadow Bolt cast. I will also Dark Glare whenever I'm bursting, but also Phantom Singularity to buff that Shadow Bolt damage. So that is pretty much the playstyle. The playstyle is pretty immobile. You will not run away as much as you can with Soulship, for example, with Night Fae. But that's not also the reason you want to run away, because you want to finish matches faster. So that's why with a CC chain, you can kill people within a Decimating Bolt and a Shadow Bolt proc. Very interesting to play. You can also play with Deathbolt, so it gives you another 30-second CD that you can pop. It gives you some instant damage, but I feel like sometimes outside of Dark Soul Misery, Deathbolts are not hitting that hard, so that's the issue. But I think the main culprits for you in twos are Fury Warriors and Demon Hunters, like always. I feel like you have an easier time versus the Death Knights with that build, because you can now do damage into their shield, so their AMS are going to break probably instantly whenever you got a Shadow Bolt proc with a Dismissing Bolt, so that's alright. But melees are going to be harder for you. Retribution Paladins are quite easy, actually. I feel like I can kill them very easily. Feral Druids also take a lot of damage from you, but it is dangerous because they can like one-shot you whenever they bleed you. And since you don't have Demon Armor, Ferocious Bite does a lot of damage versus you, unfortunately. But that's why you have the Drain Life PvP talent, which gives you Essence Drain with the damage reduction. So it's actually very nice. I'm going to show you a Shadow Bolt that I've did in twos. Like, it is actually insane. I critted for 27k. That Affliction Warlock just died. He just died super fast. If you see the death recap, I did Decimating Bolt at 53%, and then you see a lot of dot damage, but then I got my proc, Shadow Bolt proc, I overkilled him with 28k damage. It is actually very strong. He was 27% HP. It was like someone dispelled himself and died because of the crits, for example. This damage is insane for an Affliction Warlock. So we are going to show you how to actually burst, or at least the damaging rotation behind it. This is actually the hardest part. You want to have Fleshcraft, of course, because you want the mastery buff, which gives you a lot more damage on your dots and your malefic ruptures. And of course you want to sacrifice a pet. And you want to dot as much targets as possible, but we are going to only do on this training dummy. So we have Unstable Affliction with Agony, so we have everything, and then we are going to proc the Malefic Rupture buffs, and then of course I'm going to burst with Dark Soul Misery, Decimating Bolt, Phantom Singularity, and then I have a proc, and it does 48k. Well, it's a target dummy, but 48k with versatility, it's around, I don't know, around 40k damage, 38k damage, and now I've procced like 2 Shadow Bolts, and you see that in a shorter period of time, single target, I have 11k DPS, and I'm not casting anymore. The damage is quite insane. Like you see, my average damage is 38k damage with 3 Shadow Bolts, and that's whenever they are letting you do your rotation, of course. But it means that you can actually kill people outside of your burst. And now, even now, I don't have a Decimating Bolt. My Shadow Bolts can always do damage. 6,700 for a Shadow Bolt, which is still awesome because it's instant. I'm doing Malefic Ruptures to keep that buff alive. And you see the soul shards that you are spending are only for Malefic Ruptures, because you are not playing with Rapid Contagion. You are not playing with Deathbolt most of the time. You can still play with Deathbolt, but now look, I have like 3 dots. Doesn't matter. I have Phantom Singularity, so I'm going to cast Decimating Bolt, Phantom Singularity. I have the proc. I'm going to do the proc. I have a 24k, and it was without the Malefic Wrath buff. And now I have 3 stacks. I'm going to do a lot of damage, 54k, which is enormous for Affliction Warlock. You don't understand that you are hitting harder than a Chaos Bolt with this. And it's instant. People were complaining about instant Chaos Bolts, but you are going to do instant Shadow Bolts with 43k damage. It is actually insane. So I don't know if you can understand me, because I'm not really good in commenting my gameplay whenever I'm playing live. But you need to understand that this build is actually exciting to play. I think the issue I have with this build is versus Fury Warriors, because you don't have an escape mechanism. You don't have Soul Shape. You need to escape with your teleport. You need to escape with your portal. You need to have your healer to actually play around you, which is still a bit harder for healers sometimes. Look, I have 2 stacks of Nightfalls. Double instant, 51k, 51k. 50k again. I mean, you need to understand that Chaos Balls you need to cast, and if they interrupt you, it is over. You can do nothing about it because it is a Chaos School spell. But if you're kicked with Shadow Bolts, alright, then you also have a bit nothing to do. But you know that you have instant casts like Shadow Bolt that are ticking away, and you still have Drain Life to heal yourself and do a lot of damage. Although I'm going to say Drain Life is still a low priority spell since you don't have the Drain Life legendary. But whenever you have like Disseminating Bolt buff up, the Shard of Annihilation of course, and you have a instant Nightfall proc, I mean the damage is quite insane, like 60k here. And I don't even have a big proc, like I have the Insignia, that's it, but it's not like you're playing with Sky Fury. Imagine if you played with Sky Fury, the damage that it can provide. I mean, I want to play more this build, so I'm going to stop this video right now. Of course, comp-wise, it is still the same. You're playing a Warlock, so you need to play with a healer in 2s. In 3s, you want to play with Elemental Shaman or any other caster, really. I would say you could make it work with a Frost Mage, since now you have some instant damage. You can provide to the team the damage that they need. You can also play with a Arcane Mage, I guess, so you have like a 2 school comp, but you can make it work. So guys, if you want to have fun as an Affliction Warlock, please make sure to play this build. This build is insane. It is actually fun to play. It is instant. The damage is instant. It is satisfying to play. I think the hardest part is to actually cast those spells, but you can play with the circle. You can play with the PvP circle, which is casting circle, which gives you a 12-second immunity on silences and interrupts. You can play with your unending resolve to try to kill people. You can do shadow rifts to try to TP them away from you. So you have a lot of options for you, and you need to understand that your build is around Shadow Bolt. You want to have that proc so you can actually do a lot of damage with your Disseminating Bolt buff, and also with your Malefic Wrath buff that is also stackable, which is super good because you will do a lot of damage. Imagine you're going to create a 40k to a Fury Warrior. That Fury Warrior is going to speak a Chinese versus you know? So it's very, very interesting, very, very satisfying to play, and I think it is the build that I'm going to play for this patch, because I'm not enjoying the dot build anymore. It does so little damage. It is very dampening. I guess it's funny to feel like people are running away, but they are dying running away. But I don't want to end the match after 10 minutes of gameplay. I want to end the match whenever I want to end the match. It's with Shadow Bolts and with those procs that you can end the match even outside of Dark Soul Misery. People will run away from your Dark Soul Misery, but nobody will run away from Disseminating Bolt because they think that Shadow Bolt does no damage. So you have this surprising attack that you can do versus so many Fury Warriors that are actually playing with their keyboards. Like, I play Fury Warrior, I play Arms Warrior, but I know that it is easier to play than Warlocks, and that's a fact. Like, Warlock is one of the hardest spec to play, and I'm proud of you guys that you are still playing Warlock even after those nerfs, so please rock on. I'm going to do a meta-analysis video next week, since we will also have the results of the fall of Destruction Warlock, which I think they will not be that popular anymore. But I think I can make, or at least we can make, Affliction Warlocks great again. So please try this build. Have a great day. Subscribe to the channel if you like those kinds of content. Please comment below what you think about this video. I hope you understand what I said, because I'm not that good in commentary when I'm playing actually the class, so it's a bit difficult for me. But I hope you can understand how you can burst people down, but also what's the playstyle around that build. And also, like the video if you like the video. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments section below, and thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys, and we will see each other very soon. Bye.